Greetings and welcome, true believers. It's time for another episode of All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode number 663. I'm your host with the most, Anthony Korkanakis, joined by Corey Feinsod.
Yo, yo.
And Mike Sanidi.
What's up?
You
Awesome.
threw me off with the Stan Least. It's like, wait a sec.
Gotta do the reference there. Yeah,
I think he's got 19 inches of venom on the mind.
Yeah, exactly. Jim, unfortunately, is not with us this week. He's fine, just swamped with a little work. So, he had to take care of that and,
Cool year stuff for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's I do not envy that because that sounds like a shit show.
The worst.
Stuff like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into what we've been up to. Mike, you haven't been here in 2 weeks. Why don't you kick us off?
I haven't been here for 2 weeks. I did go on a bachelor party and I brought my Switch. I've been playing Zelda like it's my job.
Nice.
Because I like it enough, but also I want to get it done so I can play Starfield without wanting to go back to it. Especially given some of the reports about how perseverance is a big part of enjoying Starfield, apparently. But
we'll get into that later.
So yeah, I like it mostly. I don't. How do you guys? Did you not play this, Corey?
Nope.
Yeah. What what is a reasonable amount of hearts to have going into like the end game?
Hearts? I would say
Or
you want 14-ish, I would say.
I feel like Jim said he was like low on them when he tried.
I have 15, 16-ish, right? And the other thing is the resources for these fairies to upgrade your armor is ridiculous. You spend all this time getting them unlocked. It reminds me a little of Elden Ring. It pisses me off, honestly. It's just there is some definite tedium to this game, especially when you play it like it's your job. But it was funny. I did bring it there, and I brought other stuff too. I brought like Smash and Mario Kart and everything else, but no one wanted to really play anything and just watched me play this game. And my one friend Ryan, who went farther, he just wanted to tell me all these like secrets and shit. He's like, "Go there, do that. You can farm this here." I'm like, "Oh my god, all right," because I'm not farming anything. I'm just doing what I can, grabbing stuff, and so I'm just I think I'm reasonably close to the end. I mean, minor spoilers for this half-a-year-old game now. I'm supposed to find the 5th sage now.
Yeah.
I have no idea where this person is. I do have the Master Sword. I did all that. I've got the very disjointed story by floating around. But yeah, it's interesting. It's good. But I think I'm reasonably close to the end. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I can be. I'm not.
Sounds like it. And based off of what you're saying, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah, but as far as side stuff, if I was like being a completionist, I could spend another like 2-3 months in this game, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot. But yeah, no, it's definitely my favorite Zelda game so far. So there's that.
That's good.
Yeah, that's been it. That's been the one game over and over, lots of time.
Yeah, that's good. One thing I would say is the hearts are important, don't get me wrong, but the more important thing than that is getting armor up to, I would say, at least 2-star, like 2 leveled up from the fairies.
What like total armor rating would you say? Because I could get to like 30-ish.
30 should be good. I mean, the more like, so the thing, they do make you invest a lot into those things, like both the price and the pieces, because that is the most significant way to up your durability in combat, more than hearts. Like having all the hearts in the game with like 10 or less armor is way worse than having like 10 hearts with 50 armor rating or something like that.
I still get, if I'm wearing something light, I still like get 2 hit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is, no matter, as long as you're at 1 heart or even like half a heart or 1/4 of a heart, you can always just pause and eat food to replenish your hearts. So it's really about just not getting 1 or 2 shot, right? Like that is what you want to avoid. So the armor rate helps you prevent that kind of stuff. And Churro just chimed in. I had so many hearts and crap armor and everything 2-shotted me constantly. Armor and battery. So yes, there you go. So I definitely spent a little time. And the thing is, like, you get a couple different armor sets. Me, once I got comfortably leveled up with hearts, I just went for I think it was the Berserker armor set where it has a set bonus where it increases
that
your
has
attack
the
damage.
yeah. That's been. It's hard to. I don't remember the materials I need though to upgrade that to where it's like level 4-ish right now.
Yeah. One thing I did, maybe this would have helped earlier, is like I would just take a screenshot where it's like, hey, this is the items you need to find to upgrade the item. I would just take a screenshot. That way, I could just like reference. I would just like hit the album button and be like, "Oh, that's what I need."
I wish you could like maybe write a little caption with your pins. I have so many pins floating on the map. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I have no idea what that is.
What does that mean anymore? I don't know. But yeah, okay, cool, that's good. But yeah, you could easily beat it within another like day or two session if you really wanted to. If you just want to critical path it from now on, you can just do that. So yeah,
okay,
cool.
I figured I probably could, but I have to actually. I'm gonna so far resist the urge to look up where the fuck this sage is.
Yeah.
The
You didn't pre-order that early access to Starfield, Mike?
No, I'm not spending money when I don't have to. I pay for Game Pass. I'll play it. I don't know when it goes live for us. I don't know if it's going to be like midnight or 3 a.m. tonight or sometime tomorrow.
It actually is live now. So
really? Oh boy. Now that's hanging over me. Okay.
Yeah. But okay, cool. Corey, what have you been up to?
Oh, Trill, also just want to say congrats on getting ready to beat it.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I've been trying to play the WrestleQuest during my lunch break, but this past few lunches I've not been able to. So I've not made any.
Interesting.
Yes, I've not gotten any further. It is really, really neat. I have to say, I was enjoying it a bunch. I plan on playing it today, but then the lunch stuff got out of whack. But I did get to play a little bit more Remnant 2, which is still pretty good. I'm enjoying that, and I think it's definitely much more enjoyable with people. It's one of those games where it's a good social game because it's kind of like you're just doing these runs. You're just going through a run, through a section, and then you clear the section, and then that's that part, and then you just go upgrade your stuff and level up whatever, and then you just do another run. So it's almost kind of like roguelike in a way where you're just doing the thing and then getting some ability or getting better, stronger to do the next thing, and it's random where you're going in the world. So it's interesting because you can go into a game and never have seen this place before where you've been playing for like 10 hours more or longer than someone else. So
yep,
it's pretty cool. I do appreciate that because it keeps everybody, something fresh for everyone, even though you may have played it longer or less. That's pretty much it. Then you mentioned earlier, but I've been playing a lot of poker, so been playing a lot of poker recently as well. Going to the casinos, trying to do as much live as I can. But I did play online for a little bit, and in New Jersey, you can play online for real money. I was in a tournament which the first one I played in a long time, I actually won. It was 200 people, so I actually won it. So it was pretty fun.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
Do you don't want to announce your winnings from that?
I mean, it was like chump change, but it was around like $400.
That's so good.
It's not nothing.
That's a place. That's almost a PlayStation, man.
Go to the casino and Sunday during the week, holiday weekend, I went and I came back up $400 on.
Damn.
Nice. Yeah, you're doing it.
Doing pretty good.
There was a 3-hour poker game with like 6-7 people at this bachelor party that I was only in for about a half hour. I was kind of half-hearted in it because I was,
Well, and you're playing like with friends and stuff. It's a little different because.
Yeah, I lost $10 doing that. Exactly. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool. As for me, I'm just juggling Octopath Traveler 2, getting a bit more into that. Final Fantasy 14 grinding the new event, and Fall Guys grinding that pass. So pretty monotonous week. And honestly, what we're about to get into, the reviews of Starfield have made me less pressured to beat Octopath. And now I'm like, maybe I'm just going to take my time until Cyberpunk...
you know what? That's the thing. It's hard to enjoy a game when you know it's a game you want to play that's coming up. But once you find out that game may not necessarily be immediate thing you have to go to, like it can relieve some of that pressure, not make you feel like you're rushing through. Because that feeling sucks. I don't like, oh, I gotta finish this game so I can go to this next thing.
Right.
It's like disservicing
all of Zelda that way. But it's fine.
I feel like it's a disservice.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's get into it. That's probably the big surprise of the past week. So Starfield reviews came out.
And they are all over.
They are all over the place.
I wouldn't say that. They're grouped like between 7 and 10, pretty much.
That's
the
game.
That's
yeah.
Like when you're talking about games, like most times it's like okay, there'll be like 6 7s, 7s 8s,
yeah, right. I know,
9
but
10s. When you jump to that third number, it's like wait a second, because a 7 and a 10.
It is interesting. Gap. Yeah, I said it is interesting that there's multiple 7s and multiple 10s. You don't see that too often, but yeah, it goes to show that there's I guess different ways to play this, or people were expecting different things based on the marketing or with their familiarity with Bethesda or what, but definitely a little bit of controversy, even though in the end its Metascore is what, like 87, 88. It's
slipped a
out
bit.
Of maybe Game of the Year contention, but it's still like good. It's fine, but
no, it's definitely good. Don't get me wrong, it's still good. Plenty of games are good in that range, very good. For me, I think it really just Microsoft needed this to be a home run, right? We've talked about this for years, right? We've talked about.
Do you think this can't be a home run? The high 80s Metascore.
I mean, it's a win for Microsoft, absolutely, right? But it's not the grand slam, like, damn, we nailed this out of the park. We're gonna shut up everybody that ever questioned, our business practices or.
I don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
No,
but they could have made, something that actually rivaled Baldur's Gate or Tears, and I think it would have, there still would be detractors.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, with this, so there's some caveats here. So, like, the one caveat is a lot of the big publications didn't get review copies right away. We talked about this in the Discord. And it felt like they were favoring more sites that had the 10-point scale, right? Which is easier to get that 90-plus Metacritic, OpenCritic score, because out of 5-point scale, if you have a 4 out of 5 star game, which sounds great, right? That's your second highest rating.
It's an 80.
It equates to an 80, and that is terrible if you're trying to.
My Spanish teacher did not understand with her grading rubrics, because that whole B's and C's don't average out to B's and C's. It averages out to like a C, the way she does it out of 5. Come on, Mrs. Salmon. Come on.
Well, Mrs. Salmon, if you're listening to this, maybe revisit that the grade system. But yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a good score, a very good score. I expect that to dip a little bit more, though, as these other outlets that weren't provided review copies are going to dig into that. Especially when we have the lowest scores from probably some of the most notable outlets like IGN and GameSpot. I think we're both two of the big 7s out of 10s for this game. Which
IGN is sort of doing this thing lately where they're, I think, intentionally going against their reputation a little bit lately, with that whole, like, that pro gamer versus journalism or something. No, not pro gamer versus developer, sort of like diatribe video a little bit ago, where the guy was talking about how, devs shouldn't be upset about Baldur's Gate 3 being like an exception or being the new standard. And also, there's been intentionally, I think, not being the shills that they were made out to be, and being a little tougher on games than other things. So I mean, that doesn't mean that this is like a false review. It's just that's the trend they're on right now. So that's the context.
It's interesting. You get like a 7 from IGN. Even PC Gamer gave it 75. But then you get like Destructoid giving it a 10. And,
what's interesting is
Radar. I don't really know Games Radar, but they're giving it a 10, 5-star.
The guys in the old school magazines, obviously they have lots of experience in other stuff, but like the Forbes and the Washington Post guys are both like 10s, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. There's Gene Park and I don't remember the other guy, the Forbes guy, that Paul Tassi or something. I think so. So it's interesting. But yeah, and the consensus when actually reading the content of these reviews, which you should do instead of just looking at these numbers.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. This beginning sucks pretty much. Like it starts out slow, like hours worth of slow, and then it also seems like a lot of them have changed their mind about the game like 20 hours in, like 12 hours in, and then they love it. So that's good and bad, I guess, because
that does bring up the question of how long till you get to the fun. Like how much effort do you need to put in before you want to like, oh, I'm actually enjoying myself. Is it worth that time investment?
Right, and that's the thing is, for me, reading the content of these reviews is I got that consensus too. Is that from what I estimated, people are like the first 15 hours kind of suck, and but after that, things open up. This opens up, and I think, like you said, that one guy, Gene Park, was like, I actually recommend people speed run through the main story, and then just start New Game Plus, and it'll be way more interesting that way. And I'm just like, what kind of game is better that way? Like, I can't think of a single game where I would ever recommend beat this game as fast as you can so you can go through it again and you'll enjoy it more. I'm like, what?
It's funny, though, because I actually listened to a podcast he was on with another guy who liked the game. I think some guy from Kind of Funny. And so he had that experience. And then this guy who really liked the game, too, completely ignored the main quest and just like dug deep into the ship stuff, and so much so that like they're like, you didn't meet this important character to get an important upgrade. He's like, no, I didn't do that yet. It's like, you idiot. But he was having a good time. So it depends, obviously. If you want to role play real hard and be like a pirate like that guy did, that's there, I don't know, relatively soon, maybe only after a couple hours or an hour. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. Obviously, the other big thing is there's loads of loading screens. Apparently, nothing is really seamless. It still feels like a Bethesda game that way. Now, hopefully, the
planets are barren.
We knew that. I mean, yes, it's Mass Effect one-side planets, but apparently also other people are like, this is the space game they always wanted. I have heard the magical Mass Effect meets Fallout description, which is exactly what I was looking for a few times. So your mileage may vary is what I'm seeing here, but it seems like it'll take a bit of a commitment to get the most out of it, which it's kind of fine. I think going into this, you would expect that this game was going to be beefy. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens if it drops even lower. But at least on the Starfield Reddit, which is not very indicative of anything other than people talking about it in that space, the sentiment went from bad to back to good, which is weird. But people just getting more time, and it seems like so. I don't know. I'm still excited about it. I'm not as hyped. I'm slightly disappointed. It's not going to really be like that 90, 92 that I was like thinking of, like hoping for. But I still expect to fully lose a month or two.
Interesting to see how polarizing some of the reviews are as far as
we're talking about.
I mean, obviously, because like you said, a lot's riding on its reception for Bethesda and Microsoft and Game Pass and everyone really involved. It's more than just this game, but it's like a whole few companies are banking on this, like, and so people there's a lot on the line there. That whole 87 to 90, like those 3% matter a lot. And we'll see what happens. The
overall, it seems
the player count's pretty good for the the early access. But
the Steam numbers that we have estimates for, or people that scrape data, seems pretty positive. So I think it's going to be.
That's with early access too.
Right, so. That's with early access. So these people paid, the $100 or whatever, the higher tier.
Yeah, they paid for it, so they're going to do it.
Right. So
I think if you have Game Pass already, you could have paid like $30 or $40 to do it too early.
Which, no, not for me. Okay. For me personally, I'm disappointed because like none of the reviews I read gave me hope that I was going to get that deep RPG system that I was looking for. That was my biggest criticism of Fallout 4 because
I've heard some things that it's more than Fallout 4, like, and it's more like an Oblivion type thing.
I could see, it's definitely better than Fallout 4. I think Fallout 4 is probably the worst Bethesda game that, did that. But in terms of just like the companions and everything, I haven't heard anybody talk positive things about companions. Online earlier today, I actually had somebody say that one of the Outer Wilds characters was way better than anybody they've met in this game, which is just like, oh shit, like that doesn't bode well because like Outer Wild characters, they're okay.
There were two in Outer Worlds. I liked Pan Am and the Vicar guy. Mm-hmm. Those were the two interesting ones. But no, I've read a lot now. I've heard some people praising both of those things that, and then I've also heard someone say, there's only one or two good companions as well. I don't know which counts as companions, if it's the 4 romanceable or the next tier where there's all these other people. I hope they have stuff tied to them, but I don't know. We'll see. I just
it's definitely made me less interested, but at the same time also more curious about why is it so polarizing. But like it's also something where it's like, I was on the fence, so I probably don't need to do it now. But I am very curious to see why people landed on what.
I really think it depends on what you had, right? Because I mean, for years they talked about this game in vague ways, right? I mean, what's his name? Todd?
Tim Howard.
Todd
Howard. Yeah, you're right.
I was like, Todd talked about this game. It's like, oh, it's going to be the biggest, newest IP from our best developers. This thing, and I get it and stuff like that. But like, just to hear how kind of things they were touting, like the 1,000 planets, which we all were skeptical about, right? After being burned so many times, after the so much content being procedurally generated, right? A lot of the planets being completely barren and actually a waste of time. I heard somebody say, don't even go into any of these, I don't know, whatever things on these small planets. You will spend more ammunition, clearing out that outpost or whatever like that than you will get as a reward. So you're just saving your time and ammunition if you just don't do these anymore. I'm just like...
The only time I think I've read a lot of people talking about this game. The only time it sounded like it made sense was someone was wanted, and they wanted to go somewhere remote to build an outpost. That's like maybe the only time where going to a random ass planet made sense to them. So.
Right. And then, the whole thing with the spaceship where, I feel like it's a disservice to have the spaceship and just have it be a glorified, like, oh, it's a skybox and you're going to hit your limits and, that's it. It's just...
Apparently they're very far, though, so someone drove in a direction for like 7 hours to clip
your girl,
through.
Alana Pierce. 7 hours, she clipped through Pluto, I think, or something like that. Just the game was like, I don't care.
But I mean, I do think there's a little more incentive to actually engage in the docking and dogfights to make your ship matter more, since you're not manually driving to each place. I mean, and that's something I'm interested in to see how that works, because
hopefully people get what they want from this game. It's like if you're going into it looking for something specific, hopefully that it provides.
If you're going in apparently looking for like No Man's Sky, you're probably shit out of luck. But for me, I was always going in looking for like Fallout meets Mass Effect, and I think like it's something close to that. I hope the companions are up to snuff. That's still my biggest concern. But otherwise, I'm ready to play the game.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So I probably will be the first one of us, even though I'm still playing Zelda. So I'll report back.
Boot it up. I want to at least try it out and stuff like that. But if it's one of the things where like an hour or two in, I'm bored as fuck. I'm really like, this is going on the back burner. I don't need to do this.
I mean, the opening sounds bad. I already I just know the setting, and I'm like, oh, that is Mass Effect, but whatever. The setup sounds like Mass Effect, almost exactly, but less interesting actually.
Yep.
Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, we can go ahead and move on from that. What do you have next? So the SAG-AFTRA. I know we've been talking about strikes for months now on the movie cast, but you're going to get it here in the Gamecast.
Rough.
So the SAG-AFTRA
It's bleeding
board,
into every form of media that you enjoy.
So SAG-AFTRA board voted unanimously to send strike authorization for the video game industry. The companies included are Insomniac, Disney, WB, Epic Games, Activision, and Electronic Arts.
So what does this mean for us, Tony? What does this mean for the gaming world now?
Oh,
we can't watch TV or movies.
Get your backlog done. Just get it done. Get it done. Play the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy XIV with free trial now with the second expansion.
Awesome. Luckily, we have a stacked fall here that should last us most of the next year. The other thing, though, is I think this is both more important and more risky for the actors in video games because AI voice is way more, feasible, I think, than just replacing likenesses or whatever in real life. I'm sure there's lots of companies that would be happy to eliminate actors, and some of them are looking for an excuse, I think. So it's more risky, but it's also more important because we really don't want that. I'm sure it won't be good, and video game acting is we're just sort of getting to the point where people are actually viewing video game voice actors the same way that you would view, film actors. That's just sort of been starting in the last few years, I feel like. And now for this AI thing looming and realizing that, now, granted, I go back to the Bayonetta woman thing where you learn two things. One, they don't get paid that much, but two, they don't work that much either for a game. So it's a tough slippery slope sort of where you wonder how much these devs and publishers really are going to be willing to give to them when they already can barely afford anything, it seems like.
I think the AI thing is going to be interesting because it's close, but human inflection with the voices and stuff and the tones of different people. It's.
I also am afraid that you might get you back to 1995's days when coder number 12 just reads stuff, and that's what you're gonna get, non-actors reading stuff, and then they'll AI tone or change or whatever and make inflections or make that reading be several people. I don't know. Again, it's riskier because it can happen. I can see real games replacing the need for actors, but at the same time, it's more important because that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about in the news the other week how Charles Martinet, right, is no longer the voice of Mario, right? And I doubt Nintendo would do this for sure, but I could see a less or more nefarious company being like, you know what? We have so many voice clips of you. We don't need you anymore. We'll just recycle, reuse, we'll edit, we will AI the shit out of your voice. Definitely been
past Nintendo games that went like that. Especially, I think the Mario Golf was all recycled stuff. One of those older ones, they did do that, but yeah, it can happen again for sure.
Easier than ever now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely think it's important that this gets stomped out quickly, and hopefully, these companies involved are more willing to negotiate than the movie companies. Unfortunately, we have a couple of these movie companies on here, but hopefully, it does not last as long as the writers' strike goes on because
it's still going on.
Or just go back to the days where you have minimal voice acting in games. I don't know. People will figure it out, I guess. We'll see. Sticking along with the bad news, Volition Games is closing, effective immediately.
Oh, That's unfortunate.
They were the ones who made the new Saints Row. Is that who that was?
Yeah, they were the Saints Row developer.
Yeah.
So they sent out a tweet. Yeah.
I was gonna say they haven't made a good Saints Row game in a while though, so I don't know what else they were doing.
Yeah, so they came out with a statement on, I think they released it on Twitter and everything like that. Said the Volition team has proudly created world-class entertainment for fans around the globe for 30 years. We've been driven by a passion for our community and always work to deliver joy, surprise, and delight. This past June, the Embracer Group announced a restructuring program to strengthen Embracer and maintain its position as a leader in the video game industry. As part of that program, they reevaluated strategic and operational goals and made the difficult decision to close Volition effective immediately. Developer team, we are working to provide job assistance to help smooth the transition for our Volition family members. We thank our customers and fans around the world for all the love and support over the years. You'll always be in our hearts. So, really sucks. I mean, I've never been a fan of those. I've never played those. But my understanding is, they had a good dedicated audience and stuff like that. Some were better than others, right? The third one, I think, was the peak, maybe.
Yeah,
so
probably.
I think you enjoyed that one, and Corey, if I remember correctly.
The big problem is the fans of the series didn't like this last one, so.
And that's fine. But I mean, the thing is, sometimes you're gonna fumble, and other times you're gonna, hit it out of the park. But now they'll never get that chance, and who knows what if they'll ever get another Saints Row game now. And for me, this just really reiterates what we've been talking about this past year, or even longer, with acquisitions, right? Mm-hmm. Because Embracer Group was writing checks it couldn't cash, acquiring all these fucking developers and studios, and we're like, where are you getting all this money? Where's all this money come from? Where's the games? Like, where are you coming out with games to offset this? And a lot of companies just got hurt, and as we've always said, especially again, I'll cite Jason Schreier's Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. All these developers, they're losing their job. Yeah, some of them will land on their feet. Some of them will go back into the industry, somewhere. Not everybody. Mm-hmm. Not everybody. And that's a real shame, because as we could see, as games have gotten harder and more complicated and bigger budget and, now 5+ years to develop games, we need those people with the experience, right? So anytime you're losing a pool of people that had the experience, and they're just like, you know what? Fuck the game industry. I'm just going to go into the private industry, or an adjacent entertainment industry, if that gets better over there. And just, especially with Activision Blizzard, right? With that coming, oh man, I could see them just they'll call a lot of people redundancy, like marketing or, PR or whatnot. But Microsoft, they've shown this year already that they have no problems just calling like 10,000 people at a time. So
and the press reset book that he did was the second one. That was even more on about the closures and the effect that it has on the developers and the people. And I'm hoping everybody can land on their feet and be okay, but definitely there will not be jobs for everyone, unfortunately. And the way that a lot of these companies are going about things is just cycling through people like, the machine that they are. It's unfortunate, but it is the way it is, and that's why we're where we are right now with everything. And hopefully we get people that are able to hold on to their jobs and make good games, because we love this industry. We want to see it succeed. But they just get burnt out as well. So you get like people losing their jobs because companies are just not
after being crunched, right? After being crunched,
right.
It's like we just crunched 2 years for this fucking game, and now we're letting people. I mean, that happened at CD Projekt Red. Mm-hmm. They laid off people right after Cyberpunk, and stuff like that. And it's just like shit, man. Like you just work them for a year straight or whatever it was, and it's just awful.
Yeah.
But
Embracer Group just always seemed like some like Bond henchman villain, like anonymous cabal. They sound like, at least the other companies, they're video game companies. Like where did they come from? They just seem like an acquisition company, and that's it. Like they seem
and
like
the
an
people
evil
that are
company.
Getting affected the most, the ones that are not making any of the money that are this. So
so then moving on, just one quick more bit of news in the Tony was right column. straight animated movie in the works by Annapurna Animation. So again, just pointing out like
the cat.
The cat game. The cat game.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yep. So yeah, I told you that as soon as Mario hit that $1 billion, I told you we were gonna see this. Like,
yeah, but that's not like a real video game IP. It just happened once.
Doesn't matter. Right. Doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter. Like
happening.
You know. So and I think with the cat, actually, I think it might do better. I think even Jim. I wish he was on this episode, but
he's the one that's played that game.
Well, no, I think he played that, but I also think he tried to have his stepdaughter play it. Yeah. And it was a bit too hard for her, but she would enjoy him watching him play that. Right. So this is a movie that would be for her, where it's like, oh, it's based on that video game that I couldn't play, right, and stuff like that. So,
I mean, we're getting a lot of it. I mean, Gran Turismo we just talked about in the movie cast.
You know what? It's interesting. I should have mentioned on the movie cast, but I heard Twisted Metal is actually pretty good.
The first episode was fine. Like I had no problem. It's just I don't know if I'd invest more time into it. But the first episode wasn't bad. It's just it's like But yeah, then Twisted Metal's out there. Obviously, we had The Last of Us earlier, and Mario, and
a whole bunch Jack and Daxter coming soon.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we talked about Jack and Daxter last week.
Yep. Crash Bandicoot's next. Yeah, and then our final bit of news. Probably the hottest take of the past week, which is impressive for a Starfield, review thing. But Sony announced price increases for all the PlayStation Plus tiers across the board, jumping from, at least in America, from the $60 a year all the way to $80 a year for the base ones, and all the other subsequent ones went up 30%. Yikes.
Yeah. It's not great. I mean,
jumping on that bandwagon, that Gamecast bandwagon. It's like, oh, hey, you're going up, we'll go up with you.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It would be one. I mean, they don't have like great multiplayer stuff yet either, so it sort of reinforces my whole thought process. I have both systems, obviously, like Xbox for multiplayer, PlayStation for single player. There we go. Because, like, why? I already pay into Game Pass at least, and that's all sort of that. And this is just like, ugh. But inflation, they're just doing it because of inflation, so whatever.
I mean, I could understand, like, if they wanted to do 10, even 15%. 15% I'd be like, okay, like, whatever, that's Netflix.
You'd still knock them for that, but Jesus, yeah.
30%? That is so fucking greedy. And, like, to me, this just helps push me back to my PC ecosystem, especially because they already announced all their PlayStation games will be coming to PC eventually.
How much you want to bet it's going to be like, oh, these prices are going up, but for a limited time, they're on sale for the old price.
It is insane because, okay, so, well, first of all, there was a meme, like, a couple months ago where some dude in, like, I don't know, I want to say Pakistan, I could be wrong, it doesn't really matter, but he bought, like, 20-something years of PlayStation Plus in fear of a price increase. And people were like, on the internet were just like, dude, really? Like, blah, blah, blah. And then I just saw people posting, like, he knew. Like, like, he's the one laughing now. And I'm just like, yeah he is.
If you have, for every sort of subscription service, that's probably a decent thought if you think you're going to use it that long. Yeah. But
for me, this is
all going to go up.
I think the last time I paid for PlayStation Plus was during the pandemic when Fall Guys came out, and I had that. But even then, like, I struggled to pay $60 a year because I was like, those free games are shit. Fall Guys was the last decent one, I think, because, they were, co-marketing it or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And Rocket League at the, onset of PlayStation 4. But, like, those monthly games are such shit. Like, I, average out, I'm like, I'm not even going to download this. I don't even want this adding to my history because then it's just something that's going to pop up in my history and I got to, like, scroll past it, right? Like, I just want less.
Right, and you won't be able to play it once you're expired.
Right, exactly.
Plus expires.
So $80 to me for the base tier. And the base tier is just, you get your online play, you get your backup saves, and you can play, paid multiplayer games online, which is, like, kind of fucked if I think about it. Like, if you want to play a free-to-play game, like Fall Guys, we'll use that as an example, or Fortnite, you don't have to pay for PlayStation Plus. It's fine. But if you have, like, Street Fighter 6 or Madden or whatever, you need to have the PlayStation Ascent or Plus or whatever the base tier is, at least.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just bought a $70 game. You're telling me I need to pay you to play it online? Like how does that even make sense? Especially with these games where it's like Madden or Street Fighter, where that's 1-to-1. Like that's barely more than a peer connection, right? But you're saying 100 people can connect in a Fortnite lobby for free. Like, what is the justification there? I don't understand that. So to me, it's just
microtransactions, I guess.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, it's just completely fucked. Like,
yeah, it actually is making me because I slightly prefer the PlayStation controller lately. I got Street Fighter on PlayStation, but now I think I might just get Mortal Kombat when I get that on Xbox, so I can let my PlayStation Plus subscription go away for a little bit because I don't play other multiplayer games other than Street Fighter lately on it. So, goodbye.
I mean, it's just shit.
That's terrible.
Because, like, all right, let's say you got a PlayStation 5 day one, right? $500, right? And let's say PlayStation 5 is going to be around for 7 years, and you want to be PlayStation, Plus subscriber so you can play your games with your friends and stuff like that. Now you're paying $8 a year. That adds up significantly. That adds up so quickly. And
that's why definitely there's going to be like these markdowns and deals all over the place. And it's like, oh, I'm getting a deal, but I'm paying the price I was paying before.
And that's the insane thing, because I'm paying attention on like the forums like Reset Era or like Twitter or Reddit, and then like there's two camps. There's a lot of people that are just like, fuck you, Sony, you're greedy as fuck. This is what happens when they're uncontested number one, whatever, blah blah blah. We've talked about that before. Hubris Sony or whatever it was. I forget the term. And there's other people who are like, oh, well, arrogant Sony, thank you. Where it's like, oh, I just locked in my price for the next 2 years or whatever like that. I'm just like, you fucking people, like, look, I get everybody wants to save money, but like, the best thing for you to do right now is to not renew. Like, just be like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, I'm not doing this. Because all this is showing is that this is going to be pure profit, and they're not even getting anything for it, right? If they justified it with, hey, you're going to get one more PlayStation game every month or something like that, even if they're going to be garbage, I could sort of understand that, right? Or, maybe limit like your access to whatever that middle tier is. It gets you access to like their back catalog. Maybe say like, oh, you can play one of these a month or two of these a month in the base, the base tier. I could be like, hey, at least you're getting something that you weren't getting before. This is straight up, you're getting nothing new. Fuck you. Give us money. And that's just insane to me. For a 30% price increase. It was just like $1 or $2 or whatever, a month.
Well, it's like, hey, you got Spider-Man coming. Oh, that's a single player game. Doesn't even matter. It's exactly. Like, what the heck?
And that is insane, right? And I think, Mike, you mentioned earlier, like, they have no big multiplayer games on the horizon. I know, like, we have, like The Last of Us, Camps
exclusives that I know of, yeah.
I don't know, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it, but, yeah. So, and I kind of wonder if they timed it exactly with the Starfield news just to like kind of bury it, right? It's like, oh, people be hating Starfield.
Well, it's like I said, like, Microsoft's going up, we'll go up too, and Starfield's got all his headlines and all this other stuff, so.
Yep. But okay, I think that's going to do it for us this week. So thanks for listening. Just as a reminder, we are on all your major podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, etc., etc. And please give us a subscription or a like. It helps us out greatly. Leave a comment on any of our videos, which are up on YouTube the following day. So anything you can do to help us out is thumbs up from us. And we'll see you next week. Take care.